Everybody, it's 1980 Millennial Commentates, and today I want to talk to you about something that's been really bugging me in the Gypsy Rose Blanchard commentary community, and that is the fact that we have a lot of people who have reviewed the medical records, which were obtained by Fancy through allegedly, possibly, fraudulent means, and now have been illegally distributed. So a lot of people have read those, and they may have been distributed from other areas too, but we all know Fancy is the main one. But here's what actually bothers me. People are drawing conclusions and saying things like the medical records don't lie. Now we know all she had was this and that. And I'm not talking about her scars or anything like that. She clearly doesn't have very many scars because she drew them herself. But I would be very careful if I were these creators about coming to too solid of conclusions based on what's in there, because people seem to be forgetting there is no national medical records database. There's no place that you can call up and be like, or, send a request to and be like, I need all of my medical records from America. No. There are some networks that share records, but if you move even towns, much less states, like Dee Dee did, and we know that Dee Dee often took Gypsy out of town for specialists and stuff like that. In order to have comprehensively all her medical records, Christy and Rod and the prosecutors or whoever looked into him originally, they would have had to have known every place that Dee Dee ever took her to that they needed to contact and request them from. What they have is the medical records that Dee Dee had on hand, and what Gypsy, Christy, and Rod knew about to go hunt down and ask for. There are no telling how many that Gypsy can't remember that people didn't know to go ask for, like appointments and things like that, probably not surgeries. Now, why am I saying this? I'm not saying this because I'm a Gypsy supporter. I'm not out here to defend her or anything like that. I don't think that the Munchausen by proxy abuse was near as bad as she'd like to make it out to be, but I do believe it was bad. I don't think it was good. I do believe it's abusive to teach a child to steal and grift. I do believe it's an abusive situation to keep a child isolated from other children their own age, not allow them to get a normal education. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, she wasn't isolated. She was on the internet talking to men. Yes, I'm aware. But that is honestly, talking to older predatory men is kind of the thing that children do when they're isolated so much that they don't have kids their own age to have normal kinds of crushes on, normal kinds of experiences. I believe Dee Dee's abuse of keeping her out of school, away from people, and doing the con all the time is one of the things that led Gypsy to that. She may be hypersexual from a chromosomal disorder or whatever, but I think in a normal environment that would have been exercised with willing people her own age who weren't trying to go after someone childlike and apparently almost dying, because that's what everybody thought in Missouri. In Southwest Missouri back at that time, there were people in Missouri who found this very suspicious. Myself, one of them. I did not meet Gypsy and Dee Dee, but I saw videos and pictures of them at my friends' and family's houses who did know them. And I opened my mouth once and said, I'm sorry, but that looks really fake. And I was blasted by people I love for being insensitive to a single mom, to a devoted single mom. Being insensitive to the fact that just because she could move her legs sometimes didn't mean that her muscles could handle actually walking on a regular basis. She had to have the wheelchair, and how dare I, and a lot of other people experience the same thing. That's why that one doctor said, you got to handle that couple with kid gloves. You would absolutely be attacked. And a lot of people experienced it, and that's why they just kind of quit. Now, there's a clip of Gypsy Rose that a lot of people have kind of ignored because they love to say she never says anything good about her mom. And, don't get me wrong, she killed her mom. I don't think she loved her mom or anything like that. But Gypsy said in reference to the act that it bothered her the way that they portrayed her mom. They portrayed her mom as really mean and gruff when her mom got by with what she did because she was actually a very sweet, bubbly, giving woman. I know that to be true from hearing about them for all those years, a good 10 years, from close friends and family who were spending time with them before the murder. They all talked about how wonderfully sweet, devoted, absolutely kind, always polite, always, Gypsy had to call when she spoke to people, it was Mr. and Miss, and, just super, super polite, Christian, all these things. And if Dee Dee got too close to someone, she would tell them about her witchcraft past and her voodoo past if she felt that you were, kind of pagany and into that thing. But she would usually say, but that's in the past, I've been baptized now, although I do know how to do it. And things like that. But yeah, Gypsy was telling the truth there. And personally, I've never watched the act. I've never watched Mommy, Dad, and Dearest. I watched my family and friends be thieved and conned for 10 years. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in those shows. I saw the real effects in real time. And yeah, but that is one instance where Gypsy was telling the truth. And I think it's important to recognize when Gypsy does tell the truth and not go off on a spin about it, because when she feels victimized in any way by people getting facts wrong or stuff like that, that gives her fodder to continue the con. That gives her everything that she needs to continue everything that Dee Dee taught her and keep living off the public dime. Now she's doing it through foisting her story on us over and over. Well, so anyway, medical records are not a comprehensive thing. Dee Dee got by with the cons because she did act extremely sweet. Now, people did say that Dee Dee could flip a switch. You could, I know someone who has an Amish store, and Dee Dee and Gypsy used to come there, and Dee Dee would buy stuff, and the kids would show animals and things to Gypsy, and that was always cool. Dee Dee thought that was great. But one time they said, hey, Gypsy, you want to come play? And she goes, yeah. And Dee Dee flipped a switch, and she was very rude to the kids. And I think part of that was she didn't want anybody seeing how well Gypsy could play. A lot of things like that. So yeah, that's the 3 points of my video. Medical records are not an easily accessible, comprehensive thing. Every single place that Dee Dee ever took her to trying to pull more fraud would have to be known by somebody and contacted. And after the murder and all this came out, I cannot imagine that too many places were that anxious to announce that they had treated Gypsy Rose Blanchard. So I'm just guessing that there's probably a lot more medical records out there, so I wouldn't get too cocky about conclusions based on what Fancy has that allegedly she may not legally be allowed to possess. Bye, y'all. 1980 Millennial Commentates.